What's up, guys? So on today's video, we're going to talk about some little tips and tricks to avoid chargebacks, especially when you look at them. They are a thing in this industry, so you do have to be very aware of them, especially if you're looking to get into insurance. Chargebacks are a thing, and you do have to deal with them. But there are some ways that we can minimize those. Now, the one that I'm not going to talk about, mine's going to be more systems. So obviously, you do always want to be improving your sales process to make sure that you are properly vetting out that client. But there are a couple things that you can implement in your presentation or whatever you're doing, whether this mainly applies to telesales or via Zoom. But there's some little things that you can apply to your business to hopefully level some stuff out so you don't have to worry about that. At this point, I think I'm at most of my carriers are 100% premium applied. So when somebody goes through, they go through. 6 month, I'm approaching 85, 90%, and then 12 month is about 85. So this does work. But I do implement all of this stuff into my presentation just so I can make sure I keep those clients on the books. So the first one is I love doing Zoom personally. So if I can get somebody on a Zoom call, that makes it a lot easier. And using a presentation while you are on that Zoom call gives you more credibility, especially because they're kind of following along. They know what's going on. And it helps you show what you're doing in front of them. So what do I mean by this? I do a financial inventory with everybody that I do talk to. And what I do is on that Zoom call, I write it out. So they have to see where their finances are and what that looks like for them. And so by the time we get to the point where I'm saying, hey, would you like to apply for this, et cetera, they're already sold. They already know what financial position they are. Because it's one thing if you're just telling them. It's another one if they're seeing it. And I find Zoom helps with that a lot. It also does help with the trust factor, right? They know what you look like. It makes it a lot easier in order to build that trust, to especially submit an application and make sure that you do have their best interest in mind. So the next one is my policies all start the next day. I couldn't tell you the last time I had one that didn't. So it'll always start the next day unless I can't avoid it. So in the occasional sense, I will. But for the most part, if it is like that, I pretty much know that they're not going to pay for it anyway. So I kind of vet the client. If they really, really want the coverage, I'll do it because I don't want to deny somebody. I don't want to not write somebody if they really want to try and make this work. But on the flip side, if they're not really that into it and they want to start off there, I'm going to tell them just hold off, take my number. It's just not worth it just because there's no point in dealing with the chargeback, right? Now, this is how I phrase it. Now, John, the way this works, there's no large down payments or application fees with this. If the insurance company does approve this application, they will draft that first month's premium so you are covered. Now, if you want to change that draft date after the first premium, we can adjust that to your needed schedule. So what that does, that basically tells them, hey, if we get approved, this is going to go into effect. And then after that, you do have complete freedom on where you want it. So it's not like, hey, this is starting today. It's once that application gets approved, we're going to move forward. Sometimes it's faster. Sometimes you're at a carrier that's a lot slower. So once that premium does get approved, and then what I do is I say I put it in there that they can pick the day after that. So they don't feel like they're completely out of control. If they do want to have it match on a certain day, they can do that. It's just that first premium because typically if you put off that start date, the need is going to fall away and the emotional connection is going to go away. So what we need to do, we need to have that policy start as quickly as possible. And then we can always adjust from there to make sure it does work for them. This one, no direct express. I know for your final expense people, it's just not really worth it. Again, if somebody really wants the coverage, I'm fine writing them. But for the most part, card business just isn't good business. If they can't have a bank account, it makes it a little tough. It's always tough because if they really, really want it, I'll still write them, even though I'm probably going to get the chargeback. I do it just because I want to make sure that, if they really want the coverage, they can try and make it work. But typically, that's kind of how that stuff works. Now, the other one, I'm a little on the fence with this. So direct bill's fine, but I will only do it if they are paying quarterly or if it's over a certain premium. So I've run into this with a couple ones. You know, you have the guys with the big policies. They don't want to give their banking on the thing, and you know you've objection handled all you want. At that point, if I think that they do really want it, again, if they don't want it, I'm not going to write it. But if I do think they do really want it, I'm just going to tell them, hey, you're going to have to pay quarterly. This is how this is going to go, and you're going to need to save me in your phone because we're going to have to work this out. And most of the time, probably 95% of the people that do that, they pay it, and we don't have a problem. So for direct bill, that's how I do it. Now, typically, if it's like $50 a month, and they're like, you know, direct bill, no, that's not happening. Yeah, it's just going to fall off. I don't want to deal with it. But typically, if it's over $100 a month and they're super cool, you've had a great rapport with them, I'm fine doing direct bill. But other than that, I would kind of leave that out. Automations on approval. This one I find really well. I get high response rates, especially with this. So in my automations, what I have is on approval 24 hours after they did get that approval from the insurance carrier, they're going to get an approval text, and it's going to actually have what carrier they were approved with. So they automatically know that because, you know, I'm a broker. So the hard part is making sure that obviously they have the right carrier and they know what carrier, because most of the time it's kind of in general. Then also I have it to where I put in the policy number. So the next day, depending on what carrier it is, it will send them another text and it'll say, hey, your policy number is this, please register it online with, and then it'll have that carrier's website. So this kind of helps alleviate it, because a lot of times, again, they just bought something. They're never going to see this product in their life, and they're waiting on a policy packet that's going to take a week. So I find this helps a lot. Next day, they get an approval text. So they're like, okay, I did something. And then the next day, here's your policy number. Here's how you register. So then if they want to go online, they are going to have a tangible thing that they can at least see it. So they know it's a real thing. And then they'll get the policy packet in the mail. And then most of the time they let me know when that happens. And they're pretty much, they love it. So that one works really, really well. And then this one is just make sure that they do want the coverage. A lot of times I do a lot of mortgage protection. If they say they're going to sell the home in under a year, I know that's probably going to be a chargeback. So, I mean, I could probably strong arm them through an application, but in reality, it's just not really worth it. So when you're looking at this stuff, kind of vet the client, because again, you're the one who has to put the money on the line because it's a loan to you, and if you're paying on advance. So you need to vet the client to make sure that, you know, they're going to be a good fit for you. So then you don't have to deal with chargebacks, insufficient, you know, all these bank draft stuff that kind of bogs you down, especially if you got tons of them going all the time. So the easiest way to do that is vet your client, because again, you're going to be in debt with the insurance carrier for a year with them. So make sure that they are somebody who would pay a bill on time. So then you don't really have to worry about all that part of your business. So that's all for today, guys. Obviously, this is more of the automation side. Always be improving your sales process, because you know that's going to be your biggest lever that you are going to turn in your business. But these tips really helped me in increasing my persistency to make sure that I don't really deal with as many chargebacks. I do still get them occasionally, but for the most part, I don't have to deal with them. So please like, comment, subscribe, share. If you have any questions about any of this stuff or anything like that, just let me know. I'm more than happy to help you guys out with whatever you need. Thanks. Bye.